Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will you please put your hands together unless you're driving for today's guest, the legendary Mr. Tauren Wells. How are you, sir?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. I'm going to start. We got a lot to hit in a short amount of time, but I want to start with a little, if you could open this up and read this to our audience.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Oh, boy. Let's see what we've got here. What do all these have in common? Former NASCAR driver Tony Stewart. Cher. Fight song Stand By You singer Rachel Platten. Jayar from the Joy FM. Cher.
Did I write Cher twice?
Tauren Wells' new book, Joy Bomb, Busta Rhymes. What do they have in common?
Yeah, I know that's an odd group.
I have no idea, my brother.
They all have the same birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, May 20th.
Yeah. So your new book, myself,
happy birthday.
and Busta
Belated,
Rhymes,
but
all were born
that's
May 20th.
crazy.
Yes.
But can you rap when
No, I'm more of a Rachel Platten guy.
Yeah, right.
This is my fun.
Yes.
Congrats on the new book.
Thank you, man. Congrats on the new year.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
My kids make fun of me like, you're getting so old, Dad. That means I'm better at avoiding death than you guys.
That's right.
I've mastered it.
You've avoided it for a while now.
I'm getting so good at it.
That's great. Yeah.
We're going to talk about, the EP came out a couple of months ago, including the song we're playing right now, Let the Church Sing.
Yeah.
And then let's just go into, this is my question about writing a book, because I've had these ideas that I feel like maybe I'm being disobedient by not having started it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But this is me being vulnerable. I struggle with, I feel this sense of, I'm not qualified to pretend that I'm an expert on something, knowing it's like King David and his brokenness. Like, it's an audacity to step in front of somebody and go, I'm going to write a book on the subject, because you know your own faults.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that. So for you, with Joy Bomb, that's now 2 days old.
Yeah.
Do you struggle with any of that? Like, I'm no expert, but I feel like I know a few things about this. Let me go write a book about it.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I had to jump over all of those hurdles. But if you're going to do anything that God's called you to do, you're going to have to jump over inadequacy. It's either going to be inadequacy that you have to jump over, or self-reliance. And so those are two opposite ends of the same spectrum of pride. And so it's important that we're operating from a place of meekness, from humility, and thank God that not just experts write books, or we wouldn't really have any, because you can only speak from where you're at. But I think sometimes we discredit how much power is in where we're actually at right now and what you can speak to right now. There are many, many people in the world who would glean from your experiences, from your wisdom, from your perspective that you have right now, not the future you, not you at 60, at 70. You'll be a new person by then, and you'll have different things to share. I had to overcome all of that to get this book out, but I was more committed to honestly giving God my yes and saying, I'll share whatever it is that you want to teach me with other people.
We're going to talk about the song Let the Church Sing in just a couple of minutes, but we were talking about the new book, Joy Bomb. Why, we talked about the obstacles to going into sharing this stuff, but why this topic? What was going on leading up?
I was arrested by this. Like, there was no moving on. I actually tried to move on, and I thought, is this strong enough? Are these ideas good enough? And where it really started was in my daily Bible reading. I came across Matthew 5. It was next up, and the devotion that I do is a Nikki and Pippa Gumble Bible in a Year devotion. And I was probably 92 days behind, but that's beside the point. This particular day was Matthew 5, and Nikki Gumble broke down that the word blessed meant happy. And I knew this. Like, I've been in church since I was 9 years old, been following Jesus. I knew that it meant happy, but I had never really considered the implications that this was Jesus' inaugural sermon. He had taught, he spoke, he did things, but this is the first message that someone wrote down. And the first word that he says is happy. That stuck with me, bro. I'm just like, how important must happiness be to the heart of God if it's the first thing that he talks about? And framing the Beatitudes in joy was not something that I was aware of that had been done yet. And even just looking for books on the Beatitudes, there are not a ton of books just on the Sermon on the Mount, specifically the Beatitudes. So that's what I could not get away from. And I was just thinking about so much that people have been through in their lives, collectively and then individually. And how do we really get to joy? How do I reconcile a faith or a faith culture that says basically faith it till you make it? What is that? Is that even biblically accurate? No. So how do I hold my tears and my joy at the same time? And so those are the things that really God started dealing with me on, and I wanted to share it with people.
Right, it convinced me.
All right, get in there.
Amazon, right?
Audio. Yeah, I can tell you're an audio book guy. I got you.
You look like you got a second grade reading level.
No. I enjoy audio. I love, especially when it's read by the author, which I read this personally. It's a really cool experience.
Okay. Can you tell us about, the EP came out a couple of months ago. Can you tell us about Let the Church Sing, where this one, DNA of this?
Yeah, man. It actually, it's kind of like Let the Church Sing is the twin to Church of Whitestone, which is a church that we planted in January of 2024. And I say that because at the time that the vision of Church of Whitestone was being birthed, so were these songs. So we were putting the for sale sign in our yard in Houston. We were getting our things together. We had just put the website up for the church. We're raising funds, galvanizing teams. And then at night, I'm sitting in my bedroom writing, "We're making room for a miracle from you." And they just kind of started flowing at the same time. Now, because the church was a behemoth, he came out first. And then we had to take our time getting the songs right. But
full epidural.
Yes. You just kind of feel that sense of wonder, that sense of something new. These songs are songs of encounter. The room is yours, encountering the presence of God. They're songs where the cross is the centerpiece. The blood of Jesus is the centerpiece. And it's just really beautiful how they've kind of come into the world simultaneously.
Can you tell me from part of I got a few chapters of the book before it came out.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the phone call with Stephen Furtick about Yay?
Yes. So I don't know.
Not Kanye.
Yeah. I'll contextualize it so people don't
I'm sorry,
shut this off. So one of my heroes in ministry has been Pastor Stephen Furtick, and we've been able to develop a friendship, writing songs. We wrote Joy in the Morning together. My song Close from the Citizen of Heaven album was based on a message that he preached. So just a lot of love and respect for him. So I shot for the moon when I asked him if he would write the foreword to the book, and he writes the foreword for Joy Bomb, which is worth the book. Just the foreword. It's not even that long, but it's just like, this man does this. Okay. So one time we got on the phone and he was talking through a message that he was going to be preaching. And he was talking about how God is so good that when the psalmist was writing, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." And he spun that word to say, not just like, "Yea, though I walk," in the King James language, but like, "Hip, hip, hooray."
Right.
like celebrating our opportunity to walk through valleys because it brings us closer to Jesus and makes us aware of his faithfulness and his supreme stewardship over our lives, our souls, and our circumstances. So it preaches a little bit when you're walking through a valley and God's so good, you can say, yay, in a valley. You can say, thank God for the suffering I'm going through. Like David said, I realized it was good for me because it taught me to pay attention to your ways.
I could hear Stephen when you were.
Yeah. Throw some organ behind him. Somebody say, yay. Now, he may not be able to do all those riffs, but.
Last time I had you on the show, Tauren, something's changed. So now need readers to see my prep work. It's just.
Like you're about to put on the, what are they called? The glasses. Oh, that you can record stuff through?
Oh, yeah. No, we're a ministry.
Yeah. We don't have those. That's all right.
You started, so what's the right phrase for what you are to Whitestone? Are you church planter, founder?
Church planter,
okay.
Founder, pastor.
What is the hardest part?
Servant, lead servant.
Parking dude.
Uh-huh.
What's the hardest part about church planting most people wouldn't know about?
How much time do you have? The first thing is anybody coming today? You know, a lot of times at church that's been established, somebody's coming, but I always walk through and I'm like, will people be on the other side of this curtain? And there are, thank God. The management of relationships, the necessity of resources to properly and adequately serve the needs. Most churches are understaffed. That's certainly the case with us. We're a brand new church. And we started, like our first day, we had 3,600 people. So you just can't have a team ready to meet the needs of all of those people from day one, even though we've done our best. So developing the leaders and having a discipleship culture, but doing it fast enough that you have to put people who aren't really ready in roles they're not really ready for. So that means that some things are going to fall through the cracks and some things are not going to be handled perfectly. But because there's so many people, you're going to be held to the standard of whatever other church has 3,000 people. But you've only been a church for 16 months and they grew there over the course of 30 years, but you're held to the same standard. So managing expectations is a beast. From the expectations I have of myself, trying to anticipate the expectations of our staff, the expectations they have of each other, me, the expectations the church has of a new staff. There's just a lot of people management, expectation management that I don't think people realize.
My sermon this past week in church was about giftings. I was sitting there, what is I was having a hard time going, I'm sure there's one or two in there because we all have giftings.
That's
from
wild
God.
That you don't know your spiritual gifts.
I mean, maybe it's like you don't know the difference between, did I develop a talent in that or did God give me that?
Yeah, there's a chapter in my book for you. It's it's about humility and meekness.
I thought that was really humble what I just said.
No, it's not. The first step in actual humility is knowing what your strengths are.
Oh, great.
So it's actually, and I'm not calling you out, I deal with this. Okay, this is alive in my own life. That's why I know this, is we think humility is undermining our gifts, talents, and skills, but it's actually pride. So meekness is strength under control. You have to know you have it before you can control it. So you definitely have gifts, strengths, tools. I mean, there's a small percentage of people in the world who can sit down behind a microphone knowing that there are thousands of people on the other side and communicate authentically, heartfelt, scripturally sound, accessible. That's a gift. And that's just the gift that I get to see on the surface. Now, the temptation is to stop at whatever you did best first and make that the sum of your identity. because I was celebrated as a singer first, 9 years old, I was good for a 9-year-old, you're a singer. Just because you were good at it first doesn't mean that you've been called to it most. And you have to give yourself permission to explore, expand, and become. And that's why we serve a God who is dynamic, not static. He does not leave us in the place that he found us, and he has expectations of us to grow and mature. But the first step is being able to say, I know what I lack, and I'm good with that. I know what I have, and I'm good with that.
I think maybe I am doing it okay. I was feeling all this, like, what do I do? Okay, I've kind of done this thing for so long, and maybe I don't give myself credit, but I was feeling like there's something more. And then I'm like, what are my giftings? And I'm like, I'm a collector of stories for the kingdom. I like to see the story, know that's powerful. How do I share it? And so in my free time, I started a YouTube channel, and now called My 3-Minute Testimony.
My 3-Minute Testimony. Awesome.
So now we're getting stories, and I'm just like, I'm just the sharer of
yes.
these. But as they're coming in, I'm like, oh, that's powerful. God did that. And our testimonies were never meant to be kept. They were
Absolutely.
meant to be shared. And so I'm like, well, there's no place. Well, let me go do it.
Yes.
And so I started spending my free time going, let's put these stories on YouTube.
That's so powerful.
So maybe I am doing it.
You are doing it. You are doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. I had a few more questions, but I think this is a good place to wrap. I just don't know how you do it with 4 boys running a church, a newer church, album, joy bomb, author. And when you sleep, like, can you sleep okay?
The grace of God, a great team, and an amazing wife. That's my only hope. So that's how we do it. It's a little corny, but maybe I hope you remember it. There's grace for what you're made for. And so I don't think that I will have this grace on my life to do all of these things forever. I think this is a very specific season God has me in. And I'm not going to hold myself hostage to anything that I've been before. Right. And that's the liberty for every believer. God does not take snapshots of you and hold you hostage in that way. He has, old school word, camcorder. He takes video of our lives. It's progressive, it's dynamic, you're changing, and you have the permission to become.
Moving into a new house here soon, and you just gave me a second plaque from Etsy to put on the wall.
Come on.
Both Tauren Wells quotes. The one you just gave me, grace for what you're made for,
yes, sir,
is going to sit right next to favor ain't fair, but it sure does feel good.
Sure does feel good, Doc. My God, I didn't choose me. God did. Deal with it.